listening to the ACT podcast. You better like my daddy's show, you creeps.
All right, welcome to the ACT podcast. I am your host, Anthony Christian Tafoya. Wow, what a whirlwind it has been for me. Hopefully, you, the audience, is doing well. And I guess I should just start there. I'm terribly sorry for the lack of content. It's been a little busy, a little hectic. Been doing a lot. Hopefully everybody's okay. Look, I got my little hillbilly stash going. I thought I'd try something new. When I got done with the suspension, when I started the suspension from work, I thought, I'm gonna grow out a mustache just to see what it looks like. I've kept it. I don't know. It might be growing on me. I think I like it better with the 5 o'clock shadow. You gotta let me know what you think. I was called a hillbilly numerous times over the weekend, because I also was wearing a trucker hat. So I don't know what to make of that, but apparently I'm a hillbilly metal man. Maybe like Rob Zombie or something. Anyway, it's been crazy. Let me catch you up on everything that's going on. Again, sorry for the lack of content and whatnot. I did want to give a quick shout out. I've had a very active listener. Hopefully a full-time listener. Her name's A.C.T. I hope I'm saying that right. I might be screwing that up, but I appreciate you interacting on the comments and sharing your thoughts and opinions. That was a lot of fun to get some new comments in the video sections, and so thank you very much. If you're listening to me, and maybe go check her page out. I hope I said your name right. If not, I apologize. But yeah. So let's just go back to the last time you saw me. Last time you saw me, I was suspended from work. For what I believe were dubious reasons. I didn't get much clarification when I went back on what exactly I did, but some stuff's gone on around there. It's been, quite frankly, pretty stressful, very tense. I feel very paranoid every day. I have felt paranoid since I went back. Due to some of the circumstances that have nothing to do with me, but just have to do with how the company runs and things like that. When I got back from my suspension, I could have swore to God I would have been fired immediately, but then it felt like maybe I was kept because they literally kind of didn't have anybody to replace me with. I like to think that most companies can find a way around that, so maybe they actually wanted to keep me for me. I don't know. It doesn't seem like it. It seemed like a kind of a desperation play from my end. I could be wrong. I have no idea. But it's been different. It's been interesting. Like I said, very stressful. It's hard to trust anybody or anything now. And, it's just the way it's going to be, I suppose. Jolene is pushing hard that I just quit. And while that sounds tasty and delightful, for whatever reason, maybe it's just because I've gotten fired from every job I've ever had. If I could walk away with some amount of dignity, maybe I'd feel better about myself, or feel better about the situation at least. But I don't know if that's gonna happen. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow's the day. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Okay. If anybody from work happens to see this, I'm not just going to quit, or will I? No. I should, really. Which does make me, right? I'm having this internal argument. Maybe somebody in the audience could help me, just give me a different opinion. I've already annoyed everybody I know in my personal life, but generally I've been of the belief that companies, if they get rid of you or lay you off or whatever, they almost never, ever give you any notice, right? They just do it. Kind of like my suspension. They just did it. It was thrown upon me. So my general opinion has been like, fuck companies and fuck that. And, they don't give me any dignity or grace or courtesy. That's how they word it, right? They always word it as, well, it's a courtesy to give us a 2-week notice. I've always been like, fuck that. I don't want to give you that courtesy because you would never, ever give me the same courtesy. This time, though, but it's always, I guess I don't want to say this time, but I've always somewhat envied people who did walk out with a 2-week notice and on a high mark, right? Because it's like, oh, well, that seems like a pleasant way. Everybody leaves amicably. Obviously, if you're getting fired, somebody's kind of mad or irritated about it. And obviously, if you just walk out and quit, the company's probably slightly mad and irritated. Though, obviously, it doesn't bother or affect them or their bottom line nearly as much as it does, the person getting fired. I just have always seen that as something like kind of like an unattainable goal for somebody like me. So the fact that I could possibly do it with this position, I kind of want to try. Now, I'm obviously trying to get into financial areas and things like that too, where I feel like I could just quit and it'd be okay and we'd be okay. Maybe I'd have another job lined up, or if we do end up moving somewhere, then that'll be that. But yeah, I guess I would like that. But I also wouldn't be surprised at me holding out waiting. I'll just get fired anyway. Wouldn't that just be poetic justice? Me trying to do things the right way, or however people say it. But if that is indeed the right way. But so yeah, that's kind of the update on work. Now, as far as like, while I was on my suspension, I was quite busy with this. I did my artwork. I finished a wood burning I'd been working on for like a year and a half. Not really a year and a half, but close to a year. But yeah, I felt very productive and very busy. The podcast, I put like 3 videos out that week. It was very good. And then the moment I went back to work, which was like 2 weeks worth of work, I was very stressed and very kind of frantic and full of anxiety. So I wasn't doing much when I got home other than just sleeping. I would come home and sleep a lot, like a ton. So I just didn't put anything out because I didn't feel very funny. I didn't feel very fresh. I didn't feel very energetic. I felt super dead inside and worrisome. And, I still feel paranoid, but paranoid, obviously. And I did go and try and work out a little bit. They were pretty crappy, pathetic workouts, like little baby girly man workouts, but I tried. And I was like doing 5-pound weights like it was about 100. I was like, oh. But I did do a few. And then when I was getting ready to, I was going to try and post. So we had to go to Vegas this last weekend, and I was going to try and post one. And then we had this massive snowstorm, and I forgot that we have a dog now, so we had to find a dog sitter, which ended up being my one of my oldest sons. Sean came over and dog watched for me, so that was exciting. But I just didn't. I ran out of time the night before we left for our trip, and so I wanted to apologize and thank you for sticking with me if you have thus far or this long. And we'll try not to let those lulls happen too often. And I'll try to stop being a pussy about having major agita and anxiety and paranoia and fear of losing my job and being broke and living in a car. I'll try not to let that get in the way of me performing. But so we went to Vegas with Noah. Jolene had a race. That was exciting. Vegas is an interesting place. So I went when I was a young kid, and our car broke down, and my dad liked to gamble a lot, and I'm pretty sure he gambled away all of our money or at least that's the story that was told to me later by a source. And I don't know if that's true or not. I just remember being desperately angry and tired as a 5-year-old walking up and down the strip for like 10 hours. It seemed like I might have been less. It might have been more. I have no idea. I really lost all concept of time. I just remember that there was I've come to realize now they're whores, but there was like a group of women that had like kind of talked to my dad, and my mom got very upset. And I wanted McDonald's so bad because they had Power Ranger toys, and I got it. I got my Power Ranger toy, but my McDonald's burger had onions on it, and that pissed me off. I was just very disappointed, and very spoiled, obviously, because I should have been grateful for that hamburger, even though it had McDonald's nasty onions on it. But that was the last time I went to Vegas, so I'd never been back as an adult. And then last year we went for Jolene's sister's birthday, and then we went back again this year, almost exactly a year later, for Jolene's competition. And it's something called the Hyrox or something. It's like I was gonna say like super fit people, but surprisingly enough, there was some of the guys made me feel better about myself. They were like running around without their shirts on, and I thought, well, that's about what I'd look like if I took my shirt off. And not that I ever would, okay? I certainly would never, ever do that. Not with this physique. Would I ever go around running around without my shirt on? That would be disgusting. That would make people ill. I'd probably get sued for, indecent exposure or something like that, just because of all the waves and flab and fat rolling around. But I was shocked that other guys were doing that, honestly. I was also just shocked that they weren't like, like Larry the Lobster or something, like ripped and jacked and full of testosterone and steroids and hormones. I almost said hemorrhoids. Some of them probably had hemorrhoids, I would imagine, right? But hormones is what I meant to say. But it was like a co-ed thing. So Jolene did it with her dad. I was supposed to originally do it, and then Jolene's dad's partner broke his leg or something. I don't remember. I didn't pay attention. But something happened to that guy, and so then Jolene's dad took Jolene, and then they were going to try and hook me up with somebody else, but I didn't really want to do it with anybody else because, I'm just not that social like that. I don't want to do a team thing with somebody I don't know. And we had offered Noah to come on or to come and do it, and he was like, I don't want to pay that much money to do it. So I was like, whatever, we just won't do it. And so now there's talk and whatnot about me and Jolene doing it another time, maybe next year, and one of these, I don't even know if it's a year from now, but whenever the next one comes around, maybe we can do it. And maybe Jolene's dad's partner, his leg will be attached back on, or whatever happened to him. Maybe he broke his rib. I forgot, but maybe he can be back to do it with the dad. So it was pretty impressive, though. I gotta say, little Jolene, this is not the best shape she's ever been in her life. And I was just telling her that. I said, probably last year, mid-year, we were in really good shape. We were working out pretty consistently. And the year before that, I mean, God, forget about it, right? We were working out and running and lifting, pumping iron and all that kind of stuff. And this year, we've been really bad about going to the gym. And, well, really since like November of last year. It's been a few months. But, I mean, she got herself back into enough shape in the last 2-3 weeks. She did pretty good. And, little Jolene, she's real tiny. And so it was pretty impressive. It was like watching a hobbit push and pull, 300 pounds or whatever. That's pretty impressive. That's like, I guess, the equivalent would be watching like a hobbit kill like a cave troll or something like that. Although I guess that was Legolas, wasn't it? But what did the hobbits ever do? Did they ever push? Did Gandalf ever like pass out in any of the Lord of the Rings, and the hobbits had to push him, or like Frodo had to like pull him or something like that? Because that seems like the equivalent amount of weight. But Jolene did it, man. she was on it, and they had to run, so it was like 7 stations of stuff, and each station had to. It was all about endurance and strength, right? But it was really more endurance from what I could tell, because like the 5th station or 4th station was burpees, and by that point everybody looked like they wanted to die. You could see general miserableness on everybody's face, just kind of dwelling on their face, and maybe a little bit of sadness in their eyes. Like, oh my God, why are we doing this? Why did we pay so much to do this? But then by the end of it, they seemed pretty stoked. Like, hey, we did something, we accomplished something. So that was cool. It was exciting to see. I didn't really want to go. You know, just something about the sales pitch didn't sound very good to me, which was pay $20 to go watch your girlfriend work out, essentially. But I shouldn't have thought of it that way, right? I do that, right? Sometimes I just kind of frame everything in the most basic way possible, which was I just imagined that if I asked Jolene to come watch me and my father work out, she'd say, I'd rather do anything but that. And maybe I'm bad about projecting my own feelings on other people. Maybe that's a bad thing I do, or an insecurity of mine, is that I think everything that I do is so boring and dreadful that I don't want to inflict it on anybody else. And so I almost get incensed when anybody else suggests that I do what they want. No, that's the wrong way to put that, isn't it? I don't even know what that means. I guess if I had to boil it down to the most basic point, if I had to ask Jolene, come watch me and my dad work out, she'd be like, why the hell would I do that? Right? And so that was kind of how I was looking at it. But it was pretty cool to watch at the end of the day, and it was exciting. You just look at it as more like an Olympic type of sport, which I'm not really into the Olympics either, but I guess knowing the two people doing it helped and made it a little more exciting. It did make me wonder if I could do it or if I would do it. I do think I could. Would I? Maybe for a much smaller price tag I would do it. But or maybe if I got like really rich and won the lottery, maybe I would do it. If I didn't have a problem kind of burning that type of money to go work out. But that's not going to happen, is it? But so we did that. That was exciting. Yeah, Vegas is always kind of a trip. It was pretty cool, though, because we got to take Noah. Noah's never been, and so he got to see all the lights and excitement and lose some money and things like that. And, obviously, me and him enjoy drinking quite a bit, so we got to do that, drink all over the place, and hit Fremont Station or Street, whatever it's called, and it was a pretty good trip. The only thing that really kind of annoyed me about the entire trip, honestly, was somehow, some way, I got wrangled because of my age into. We were booked in a Club Wyndham hotel, right? And so somehow I got wrangled because of my age into having to go to the sales pitch thing. For a free gift of either a vacation or a gift card. And I wanted the gift card because I don't care about vacation. And then I was reliably informed that was stupid and that I should always take the vacation. And that to me just sounds, and they're like, well, it's covering the cost of your hotel. And I thought, well, but what's covering the cost of everything else besides the hotel? Because that's all I really look at ultimately at the end of the day is, as nice as a vacation might be, I'm just not in the financial place to where I can really thoroughly enjoy it without kind of feeling my wallet hurting. Like how your stomach twists up and gets all nauseous and nauseated when you have to shit really bad, or you got diarrhea, or you ate Indian food or something. That's how my wallet feels when I'm on vacation. I have a general sense of anxiety and stress about the amount of money we're spending, or what I will have to cut out in the coming days after a vacation, or I'm just kind of bitter about having to pay so much for gas or plane tickets or whatever, right? And which everybody goes, well, that's the cost of travel. And I'm like, well, it's not the cost of travel. So I'm just not a big vacation guy, and I quite frankly don't have a job that's particularly easy to get a lot of time off for anyway. And I like to stay busy, and I like my house, and I like my things. I'm kind of a homebody. But somehow, some way, I got pushed into doing this fucking sales meeting, and that was annoying, right? Because it was like at 9 o'clock in the morning, I had to get up, and luckily I was able to rope Jolene into having to go with me because we were attached. So they're like, well, if you're attached, you have to bring your partner. It's a partner decision. We already know what's going to happen, right? It's a Club Wyndham. They're going to sell you a hotel room for your life. And, for only $20,000, think of all the money you'll save. I don't think about that, right? I don't even have a house yet. Why would I want a vacation room? Maybe I should have, though. That's an idea. Great Scott. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should just buy a vacation home and just travel from town to town and be like a vacuum salesman in the 50s. And I'll just use all my points instead of paying for rent. I'll use all my points to just live from hotel to hotel and live like a dirty salesman of the 1950s, right? That'd be kind of fun. Honestly, I didn't even think about that. That actually would maybe I should rethink this vacation house thing. But I thought, you know what? If I die tomorrow, what are my kids going to do with the vacation house? Sell it for a few bucks, maybe. I don't even know. They didn't even talk about that, like what the actual ownership of it means. It's not a timeshare. It's definitely not a timeshare, but it's like a timeshare, but it's not. Right. And so I don't know. But that the whole thing took way too long. They said it was going to be 90 minutes. We were coming up on 3 hours, and I got pretty snappy with the last guy, right? So you have to go through a gauntlet. They show you like a video presentation, and then they tell you how much everybody works and how stressed we all are and how much we all hate our lives and how money is really the ultimately the only thing that stops us from vacationing, which, duh. And that if you just buy one of these things, you're going to save so much on hotels that the outrageous cost of food, gas, and travel won't matter, and that you'll like magically be like super duper rich or something. I don't know. Anyway, there's a logic missing in what they're saying, unless you're like old and retired, or you're financially pretty set, and you have enough vacation time to travel as much as these fucking people think people travel. But I guess maybe that's why I'm so confused. I think people do travel this fucking much instead of working, which could be why the entire American economy system is like collapsing and why we keep having to pull in like immigrants, because all the Americans are busy vacationing, and like when they get back from vacation, they go, I really need that. And it was like, well, what'd you do before that to need that vacation? Like, I took some phone calls. I answered some emails, and I sat on my duff a lot. Like 90% of people work from home now, so I'm pretty sure they just like eat their boogers and watch Netflix. I don't know what anybody does anymore. I know if that was me, I probably wouldn't be eating my boogers, but I'd be doing other things with myself. But I certainly wouldn't be paying much attention to work. I love it too when because my job, I have to call all these different vendors and stuff, and you can tell they're working from home, and they're like, kids are screaming in the background, and then you hear the phone constantly going on mute. You'll be like, what'd you say? Could you say that one more time? Yeah, it's so annoying. But yeah, and I go, oh man, these people, and you know what? irritates me the most about talking to those vendors who work at home. They are very short and rude with you, even while they're at home, probably in their underwear, eating a bologna sandwich, like sitting on their couch with their laptop 10 feet away. And it's obvious they're not looking at your problem because they're not like they're remotely connected in, but then you see like the cursor, right? And it's not moving. And you keep telling them what you need and what needs to be done, and then they start telling you what to do. And it's like, well, why am I calling you then, right? You're supposed to be able to remote into my computer and fix my issue, IT person, and then they don't. Or like we have this other vendor that we have to do these codes with, and they never can find the codes. And I'm pretty sure it's just they don't want to pick up their iPad to look for the codes. It's very it's very annoying. Anyway, so yeah, to me, like the idea of people needing to take more vacation is just wild. That's something I can't even fathom that. I think people should take more time to learn how to build a relationship and maybe raise kids or something, and like teach your kids to have values or something. I have no idea, man. It's weird. It's wild. And that whole sales pitch in Vegas was just, you work too much, you do too much. And I was like, we're literally sitting in like this fancy ass hotel, listening to a salesman drone on about why we should stay here longer. And then they say they're gonna give you snacks and shit like that. They give us some fucking granola bars and like cheap Farmer Brothers coffee or whatever. You can always tell the difference, right? It's oily and greasy tasting and not very good. Anyway, so then you have to go through a gauntlet, right? So it's a video presentation. Then there's a gauntlet of salespeople you have to fight your way through just to get your fucking free vacation days at a hotel or whatever, or your goddamn gift card. Which case, at the end of the day, we won. I got my gift card. Jolene got a few free vacation days. She didn't get a week, but she got like 3. So, everybody won. I just wanted some money because I thought we were going to blow some more money in Vegas. Oddly enough, we actually didn't end up spending very much more money in Vegas. So, whatever. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, after like the 4 salesmen came up, I got pretty short with the guy, and kind of got aggressive and yelled at him a little bit. I was kind of ready to punch him. He was kind of a dick. Made a comment about my financial situation. I was like, well, no shit, Sherlock. I told you at the beginning of this, I can't afford something like this. And then you're going to make a wisecrack about the fact that I can't afford it. And it's like, that, I'm sorry, man, but from where I'm from, that's a cruising for a bruising issue, right? Like, you just don't talk to people like that. But that was probably the worst part of the trip, but it also turned out to be kind of an entertaining little thing. Can't say I want to do that again, but it is what it is. I would certainly like to know if anybody else thinks that if we vacation too much nowadays or what. I mean, like I remember my grandparents talking about like if they got to go to Disneyland once in their life, I mean, they're pretty thrilled about that. Now I feel like people go to everywhere so much and do so much that they're not very content with it once they get there. Like, is this all you got? Is that all you got? Is that all there is? Because I hear people talking about their vacations. They sound miserable, quite frankly. I always have fun. If I go on a trip or something, I generally try and have fun because I'm just like, I'm wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and like, wow, look at this, the Sphinx, woo, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm like a retarded guy. I see the big shiny sphere and I'm like a moth. I'm like, let me go to it, right? Other people are like, yeah, I've seen it. Don't care. So I don't know. That's just the general idea that I get. Unless they're like, the only people who seem to still get excited about vacation are like 40-year-olds, childrenless 40-year-olds who go to Disneyland and like cream their pants because they, saw Kylo Ren or something. That's fucking wild to me. Like, that's wild. I don't understand that for a second. I don't think I want to understand that. I mean, that's crazy. I actually know somebody who went to Disney pretty recently. That was older. They weren't 40 and they weren't a man, but they went recently and they said, I just didn't have that good of a time. And, I gave them a hug and I said, congratulations, you've matured. Like that to me was more exciting than anything else they had to say about their vacation. Was just like, yeah, you know what? I might be turning into an adult. And I was like, that's awesome. Cool. I'm glad you didn't get like super excited to see Minnie Mouse. That's a good sign. That's a good thing, right? I hope I'm not alone in that. Please let me know though. Please let me know. I mean, I've never been to like Universal Studios, so I'm sure I would have fun taking my kids there. I don't know if I'd have as much fun if I just went by myself. I think that would be kind of weird, and I would definitely feel guilty because I know my kids have never been there, and so I think that would be somewhat selfish of me to go and not take my children. That's just maybe that's a weird hang up I have. I have no idea. But hopefully, Big Noah had a good time. We'll have to talk to him about it sometime soon on the podcast, see what he thought about it. I feel like he wanted to hit me at the end of the trip. I think I wore him out. I seem to wear everybody out that I was with. So sorry guys. I don't know. I know I'm a lot. I'm not really though. I think my opinions just piss people off or irritate people. I have no idea. I just talk. Nobody else has any ideas about anything, so I just talk and talk and talk, and then I say something that seems to me to offend them, right? And that's how I felt with Noah. I thought I've offended this man. I have said something. I don't know what. I'm sure he could tell you. We'll have to ask him, right? I'm sure he wanted to punch me in the face. Maybe because I kept trying to push him towards all the like half naked women at Fremont Street. I was trying to get the guy pumped. I was like, look at there's boobs and butts. Go to them, run to them, boy. Right? He wasn't having none of it, which is an interesting conversation that I would like to have. But I also feel like I might offend him if I talk about that. So we'll probably never talk about that. Anyway. So that's that. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Have you been sucked into one of those sales pitches? Did you want to kill yourself in the middle of one of those sales pitches? Did you too get mad at a salesman? Have you ever done the Hyrox? Have you ever worked out for fun like that? Let me know if you've even heard of the Hyrox. I had never heard of the Hyrox. I'd heard the Spartan race. Apparently, I was told that the Spartan race is for babies and the Hyrox is for men's. So I actually thought the Spartan race looked harder though, but it's just my opinion, right? But that's because it's got monkey bars and shit like that, and I can't do monkey bars at all. And a rope climb, and I can't do a rope climb at all, right? Everything that they did at this Hyrox thing, I know I can do. Can I do it all boom, 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 boom like they did? I'd probably have to train a little bit harder, but I think I could get through it. I know I could get through it. I don't think I could get through it in the time that Jolene and her dad did. But I know I could get through it. It'd probably take me an extra 10, 15 minutes just because I'm old and smoke and whatever. And right now I'm fat. So anyway, let me know if you've ever been there. Mandalay Bay was beautiful, by the way. That was my first time in there. That was a very cool casino. Really liked it. Oh, and I went to Kiss World. Kiss World was amazing. I loved Kiss World. We did Kiss mini golf, and I got to go into Gene Simmons Museum. That was very fun, very exciting. I got to wear Gene Simmons boots, and so that was exciting too. I'll post all that to Instagram if you want to see any of our fun adventures from there. But it was also, I got to say, it was nice to just chill out and relax and not think about work for a few days and enjoy just being, kind of what would you say, permanently drunk for like 4 days. That was nice. I can't say that was bad. I wasn't like drunk, but I was like in a constant like coma of beer, which not a bad place to be, honestly, when you're stressed out and paranoid. It was like, I'm not a weed guy, right? So I'm imagining that's how weed is for people. Just chills them out and they're like, that was me, but with beer. Very exciting. Very cool. Anyway, so like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if you've ever been to Vegas, if you've ever been one of those sales pitches, if you ever want to do one of those sales pitches. Maybe you, the viewer, maybe one of you is one of those salespeople. And tell me, just explain how you live with yourself. No. Anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Follow us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and check out the Instagram, the Twitter, whatever. Right? I'm not super active on Twitter right now. But anyway, just hit me up. Let me know what you think. Yasix, thank you very much for commenting, and I hope you stay with us and continue to give your insight and thoughts. I'd appreciate that. And anybody else, I would like that too. Thank you very much. This is The Act.